In this video, we're going to take a look at how to organize data by rank. So let's take a look at our table here. We're going to take a look at age again. I'm going to come over here to column K, and I'm just going to replicate these three columns, age, GPA, and salary. So age, GPA, and salary. And let's suppose that we wanted to find the oldest age in this list. Now we could just scan down the list with our eyes and probably find that it's 50 here probably. But suppose that this list were really long, like even thousands of rows long. We wouldn't be able to do that, but there is a way to have Excel calculate that for us. So we could take a look at what the oldest age is, or the maximum age is. And to do this, we just simply do equals max, and then open parenthesis, and then grab all of the ages in the data set, close parenthesis, then push enter, and it says that the highest age is 52. So actually we were wrong on eyeballing it at 50. There is a 52 age here. Now we're going to change this to a number format, get rid of the decimals. There we go. So the highest age is 52. Now suppose that we wanted to look at the lowest age. That would be the min. So we could just do equals min, open parenthesis, grab the same data set, close parenthesis, push enter, and it looks like the age is 24. Now because we didn't anchor the references for these functions, we can go ahead and drag them across to calculate the maximum and the min for GPA and salary. So if we drag that across, we'll see that the GPA, the max is 4 and 2. Those are rounded because we don't have enough decimals showing, so we'll increase decimals. So the highest GPA in the list is 3.93 and the lowest is 2.31, and we can change our salaries to a currency. There we go. Okay, now let's suppose we took this one step further and we wanted to not just look at the highest and the lowest, but say the second highest or the second lowest or the fourth highest or so on and so forth. So we can do this using what's called the large function. So here I'm going to say let's look for the third largest. Okay, so what's the third largest value for age? So we can do equals large is the name of the function, open parenthesis, and then it asks for two things, the array and then the k constant. So the array is just simply all of the ages, and then we push comma, and then it's asking for k. Well, k is the order that we want it to report. In this case, we wanted to get the third largest value, so we would type in 3, and that would give us the third largest value from this array here. Close parenthesis, push enter, and it looks like the value is 49. That is the third largest. If we wanted to change it to the second largest, we could come in, double click on the value, edit the formula, and type in 2, and it looks like the second largest is 50. We could do the same thing with, say, the third smallest, and we could do equals small, open parenthesis, grab the same array, and then comma, and then 3 for the third smallest, and it'll give us the third smallest age from the list, which would be 25. And then of course we can grab these and drag them over to find the third largest and smallest values for GPA and salary. We could change the decimals here and change the format here and the number of decimals. There we go. So there we have the third largest and the third smallest values. So what if we wanted to change this to be, say, I'm going to type in 3 here and 3 here. You'll see what I'm going to do here. Instead of going into the formula and typing in 2, this for the second largest, or in this case 3 for the third smallest, we can refer to a cell that has that number in it. So I'm going to double click, edit the formula, and I'm going to delete the 2 and replace it with this cell that has the number 3 in it. And I'm going to anchor that cell reference, J5, so that I can drag it across for the other ones. Push enter. It says 49. Come over here and do the same thing. I'm going to replace the 3 with this value here, anchored. Push enter. We get the same results. I could go ahead and drag those across, but notice what happens here. Actually, I'll go ahead and drag them across. I lost my formatting, so I'm going to click this and I'm going to hit fill without formatting, and that way it'll preserve the original formatting that was there. Now, when I come over here and change this number to say 4, it will recalculate these values so that they reflect the fourth smallest values in the lists. And I could change this one to 1, for instance, and it would give me the first largest values in the list, or in other words, the same as the maximums here. The other thing we could do if we wanted to create a numbered list, we could type in 1. We'll get rid of the decimal here. And then we're going to drag this down. I'm going to type in 2 actually. We'll select both of those, drag it down and create a numbered list from say 1 to 8. Then we could do our large function, for instance, equals large, this age here, anchored, comma, and then this value here. Now notice that I anchored this array so that when I drag this down, it doesn't change rows when I. Now notice that I anchored these. Now notice that I anchored this array here so that when I drag the formula down, it does not float or drift. I always want this array to be just these ages here. But on the other hand, I want it to be able to adjust to GPA and salary if I drag it across. So I'm going to backspace here and start over. I'm going to select all of these ages, and I'm going to anchor not the column and the row. So I'm going to hit F4 one more time. Here it's anchoring just the rows but not the columns, and I believe that's what I want. When I drag it across, I want it to go to column E and then F so that it'll refer to the other columns of data. But when I drag it down, I always want it to stay with rows 3 through 17. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then comma, and then I'm going to refer to this number 1 here, and I'm going to want to anchor the column in this case, but not the row. That way when I drag it down, it will update the ranking to the second one, to the third one, to the fourth one, so on and so forth. But when I drag it across, it will always refer to column J, which are these numbers here. So I do close parenthesis and then enter, and it says 52. I'm going to get rid of the decimal there, and I can drag this down, and notice now that it gives me the largest value, the second largest value, the third largest value, so on and so forth. I could do the same thing with the small function. It would be going in reverse order. And then, of course, I could drag this over to make it work for GPA and salary. Now let's take a look at something a little bit different. Let's suppose that I wanted to take a look at each of these values in this age column and have Excel calculate what rank it is. So for instance, this 49, what rank does that play in this entire list of ages? I can do this. I'm going to type in rank over here, and I can do this by using the rank function. Equals rank, and there's two different rank formulas that we can choose from, rank.average and rank.eq. Rank.average, the way it works is if there are more than one age in the list that are the same, they'll get the same rank, and the rank that is assigned to those two will be the average of those two ranks. If you choose rank.eq, instead of averaging the two ranks that happen to be the same, it will take the highest of the two and it will assign that rank to both of them. So we're going to go ahead and start with rank.average. It asks for a number. The number that we want here is this age here for Alice. And then we hit comma, and then it asks for a reference. The reference is the whole array of all of the ages. And I'm going to anchor that array so that the rows and the columns are locked down so that I can drag the formula down for each individual. So really what I'm doing is I'm looking for what rank is this age, 49, from this list from D3 to D17. I want the D3 to float or adjust when I drag this formula down so that it'll go to Bill's age and then Carl's age and so forth. But I don't want the reference to change because that reference for all of them is the same. The last thing I can do is push comma, and then it asks for the order. The order can be either descending or ascending. I type in 0 if I want it to be descending, and I type in 1 if I want it to be ascending. So we're going to go ahead and have it be descending order, so comma 0, and then close parenthesis. And here it is saying that the rank for Alice is number 3. And what that means is she is the third, her age is the third oldest in this list. And if we look at our table down here, it should coincide with this. Notice that our third largest age was 49, and that is Alice's age, which is reflected here by the rank of 3. I should be able to drag this down now, and notice that it shows here number 1 is Frank, meaning he is the oldest in the list. Number 15 is Gary. He's the youngest in the list. Now if I come back here and edit the 0 on the order to a 1 to make it ascending instead of descending, everything will be in reverse order. So now when I drag this down, number 1 is not to be found. Well, why is that? It turns out that Gary, who is 24, is the same age as Leah, who is also 24. And remember, the way the rank works is if two individuals have the same rank, they're both given the same value, and because we used average, the average rank is actually going to be 1.5. If I were to expand my decimal, notice that the rank is 1.5, which is the average of 1 and 2, and that is assigned to both of those individuals. If I were to change this to rank.eq instead of rank.average, notice what happens when I drag this down. Nothing's going to change, except for the ones that are the same are now both 1. And that's because it chooses the highest rank for individuals that have the same rank. So that's how the rank functions work, along with the max, the min, the large, and the small functions.